are. You are in paradise. What's the matter, little baby crow? What's the matter, little baby crow?
Welcome to Verizon Wireless. Your future update could not be completed. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number. number is not valid. You have 3. Saved voice messages. To listen to your messages, press 1. To send a message, first save voice message.
Hi, Glendora. Just calling to thank you. You provide a lot of laughs for our family. We've been watching you over the years. Keep up the good work. And God bless. Take care. Bye.
To replay this message, press 4. To get envelope information about this message, press...
Hi, Glendora. Just calling to thank you. You provide a lot of laughs for our family. We've been watching you over the years. Keep up the good work. And God bless. Take care. Bye.
End of message. To erase this message, press 7. To replay this message, press 4. To get envelope information sent Friday, August 2nd at 9:13 p.m. from phone number 63173056666. Duration 19 seconds. To erase this message, press 7. To save it, press 9. To hear more options, this message will be saved for 21 days. Next message.
Hi, Glendora. It's Kurt Vincent. Just calling. I heard you had a bit of a water heater problem. Hope you've dried out and are enjoying the summer. Give me a call when you get a chance. Bye-bye.
This message will be saved for 21 days. Next message.
Hello, Glendora. This is Jeannie Browning.
San Antonio,
Frank
Texas.
sent me an email. He said if you can get your DVD on an MPEG-2 file, he can get it. And his phone number is 210-207-4000. I assume you could possibly get the MPEG-2 file, okay?
MPEG-2.
Yesterday, they used the one from May the 13th that had Austin on it, and you looked lovely, and it was very entertaining, and I enjoyed it very much. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Jeannie Browning, Christian, San Antonio, Texas. And the man from Long Island, it would be pretty much Suffolk County, 631 area code. What did he say? Thank you. And he's watched the program with his family. And for many years, did he say? And they've enjoyed the jokes. And keep up the good work. And God bless you. So, we'd better start out with some jokes. What do you call a smart duck? What do you call a smart duck? A wisecracker. And why does Santa Claus have 3 gardens? Why does Santa Claus have 3 gardens? So he can ho, ho, ho. Daddy, what's the difference between lightning and electricity? Daddy, you don't have to pay for lightning. A man called the hospital and he said, I'm calling about the condition of James Parsons. And the nurse answered the phone and said, well, Mr. Parsons is doing very well. He slept comfortably and he's in good condition today, and we think maybe Thursday he will be discharged. Who's calling? And the man says, James Parsons. The doctor doesn't tell me anything. The CEO of the company is going around the company looking at different things, And he says, "Young man, I know who you are. I've been watching your work, and you have been improving, and I've decided to give you a raise." And the young man said, "Gee, thanks, Dad." The terms of this gasoline station are strictly cash. And the customer says, "No, there's a sign up there that says, batteries charged." "Well, thanks, Wind." Now what am I going to fill the half hour with? There goes all of our material over the lawn. What month has 28 days? They all do. A man says he does his hardest work before breakfast every morning. What is that? Getting out of bed. Why is a peacock like the numeral 9? Because, folks, without its tail, it's nothing. Why is the NBC peacock like the numeral 9? Because without its tail, it's nothing. You sent out the invitations, Johnny, for your birthday party, and you invited just aunts and uncles and grandparents. Why? They're the ones with the money. The woman was asked on the ship how she liked her cabin, and she says, "I don't like it. I don't like that washing machine in the wall." "That's not a washing machine, that's a porthole." "Is that why my clothes didn't come back?" Well, let's see if we can retrieve this. With God we go to spend the joy of life. We win each day the happiness of love. We count our blessings. We give thanks, we give joy. Stop, stop the cruel. Stop, stop, stop the cruel. How many minutes have we been on already? Okay. We'll take a guess on that one. This excerpt to be read to you is from the book Be Perfect. And you know where Be Perfect comes from? Matthew, the book of Matthew. The New Testament, the book of Matthew. Chapter 5, it's the last sentence. "Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect." You hear people say, nobody's perfect. Well, it's not true. And the quote is this: "Subtract from the number of activities until life is whole." I know people, they have a beautiful home, a darling home. They're never in it. They're always out doing something. I know people down the street who have a beautiful porch with a lovely wooden swing on it. Do they ever sit on the porch? No. Why? Because they're out doing things, or in doing things. Give the covenant priority until the covenant has singularity. What is the covenant? Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. That's the covenant. Give the covenant priority until the covenant has what? Singularity. Deuteronomy 8:3 states, "Man doth not live by bread only, but by everything that proceedeth out of Jehovah. Man lives by love only, and everything that proceedeth out of Jehovah is love. The mind is like a generator, meditating while the body is at rest. The mind is charging, meditating while the body is in motion. The mind is discharging. Well, hello, Ruffy Cat. You've never seen this chair before? This is Ruffy Cat, my neighbor. He has white boots, white shoes, white sneakers, and white gloves. The Earth's magnetic field from pole to pole is enormously powerful. But if you take a tiny compass, it is easily deflected by a small magnet nearby of tiny power compared to the Earth's. The distance between the Earth's poles is thousands of miles, but the distance between the magnet's poles is a few inches. Although God is tremendous in size, the love God exerts as a whole is put aside easily for a much smaller part of the whole that is nearby. Isn't that a good lesson? Isn't that good, Ruffy Cat? A part of God is loved more than the whole of God. Have we had that experience, you and I? God is 1,000 in the 1,000 miles in diameter, whereas the nearness of an artificial idol is a few inches. Yeah. That takes a little contemplation. We're reading from Be Perfect. Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. And you are in paradise. Yes, we are. We are sitting in paradise. The fastest way to reach the ultimate is to go slowly. Is that the quote you were looking for, James Dixon, in Manhattan? The fastest way to reach the ultimate is to go slowly. The mind has so much to say. Make certain this is said to the notebook. Keep a notebook. Your mind has so much to say. Keep a notebook. Certainly B should be done, and C should be done, and B should be, and D should be done, but not any of these is what should be done first. You do what should be done first. B, C, D can be done afterwards. Make a rule not to think about B, C, D until the first assignment, learning to love 100%, all of the time, is accomplished. Good going. Sit in a living room chair under a lamp and think, read, write, and learn. Be taught not to be taught. Be taught, T-A-U-G-H-T, not to be taught, T-A-U-T. Thinking or saying something bad about God includes thoughts or statements of the following. I'm sorry, caller. I'll have to call you later. Isn't it amazing, a telephone in your pocket? 10 years ago, 5 years ago. It's a great creation, God. A great innovation. Ingenious. Thinking or saying something bad about God includes thoughts or statements of the following type. The world is all mixed up. People are no good. God doesn't know how to run this world. God doesn't know how to run this universe. The weather is miserable. That tree is a nuisance. These are words and are no good for anything. Or these are weeds, excuse me. These are weeds and are no good for anything. Sometimes words are no good for anything. And this is, or that, is a pest. Well, when a mind thinks such thoughts, the mind is mixed up, not God. We have a blue dome, no aerosol, no poison. A blue dome. Nobody is spoiling our blue sky and making it rain and chasing away the blue. Thank you for your recent contribution to FARM. And it stands for Farm Animals' Rights Preserved. The horrible things that are done to farm animals every day, and to and so many other animals. Don't be a part of it. This village is having a chicken barbecue. It's barbarian. I will have nothing to do with it. Why murder those chickens? Why ruin your health eating wrong things? Why shorten your life? Why cause yourself pain and expense? Farm Animals Rights Movement. Thank you from Farm and on behalf of farmed animals. We can't thank you enough for your effort to save animals. With each person, we try to become vegan. Thousands of innocent lives are saved from cruel conditions and gruesome slaughter. You don't want to be a part of that, folks. You do not want to be a part of that. Stop and think what's going on when you eat an animal. Stop and think of it. And also eggs or honey, any animal product. Isaiah, how many years ago? Hundreds of years before Christ, said in Isaiah 11:6, "The wolf shall lie down with the lamb. The leopard shall lie down with the young goat." This is our vision. The calf and the young lion together. The cow and the bear shall graze, and the lion shall eat straw, like the cow. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all of God's holy mountain, for the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of God. That's our vision. And it is happening. It is happening. So be with the right. Don't be with the wrong. Stay away from all animal products. Stay away from all exploiting of animals. Innocent animals. My husband Franklin and I kept track of the money that we spent since his working day started in 1937. Mine started in 1950. And for TV airtime for Glendora TV ads, we spent $548,000. $548,000. The next biggest expense was rent, $315,000. We always agreed we didn't want to own because it's easier to call a landlord when the hot water heater bursts, explodes at 5 o'clock in the morning. One-time only business, $163,000. This is all since 1937. Telephone, $116,000. Groceries, $105,000. Does this compare anything, any idea of how much you've spent in your lifetime? Total deductions from salaries by the government, $102,000. Federal withholding, $99,000. Car repair, $92,000. Technical equipment for a chat with Glendora and also for Glendora TV ads, $78,000. One-time only personal, $72,000. Refunds, $62,000. Postage, $50,000. You hear that, Jack? I beg your pardon, postage is $60,000 in these years since 1937. And Jack Van Buren is retiring from the Ghent Post Office. I am shocked. He has been such a great postmaster, and I've known him so many years, and how I will miss him. Roxanne will still be there. Thank you for that. Postage, $60,000 since 1937. How much do you think gasoline has been in these years? $46,000. Non-employee compensation, paying people to help me do the work, most of which has been wasted, but you can't tell which part of it. Non-employee compensation is $54,000. Donations received, $44,000. Printing, $40,000. FICA, F-I-C-A, $38,000. Office supplies, $33,000. Video, paying to have videos done for the commercials, $38,000. Clothing, $29,000. Gifts, $28,000. Electric, $14,000. Household, $14,000. Cleaners, $7,000. Medical, $6,000. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Dentist, $3,000. And I still have 14 teeth left. HABA, health and beauty aids, mostly Pond's cold cream, $3,000. Parking, $3,000. Bus fare, $3,000. Disability, $2,000. That's since 1937. How does that compare in your mind with what you've spent? Here are some nice words. To accept means what? To receive with a consenting mind. And an acceptance is, you have a person here, the person consents or engages for a bill of exchange on himself and agrees to pay it back at the specified date according to the terms stated. Access. An access is an outcry of passion, a fit of passion, as an access of zeal or an access of fury. Public access is an access of zeal and an access of fury. Public access television. What does accessible mean? It means approachable, doesn't it? Easy to approach. Available. Folks, what is an accession? That's an addition to property by increase, growth, or labor. The property you want is love, and you want to increase it by, you want to add to it by increase, growth, and labor. And this is word 65. That's accession. The next one is accessory. Accessory before the fact or after the fact. That means prohibiting assisting to interfere with intent to obstruct justice, which the FBI is doing all of the time, and the U.S. Attorney is doing all of the time. They are constantly obstructing justice. How much money do you have in the bank? The man was asked. I don't know. I haven't shaken it lately. Nearer, my God, to thee, nearer to thee, I will be one with thee, one with thee. Still, all my prayers shall be nearer, my God, to thee, nearer, my God, to thee, nearer to thee. Folks, happiness. Do not think about evil. Do not see evil. Do not hear evil. Do not speak evil. Do not do evil. Stay with happiness. And stay in the present. We are in the present right now, aren't we? And who is running the present? Who is operating it? God. And God is doing it perfectly. What does that do to you? It makes you happy. And it also makes you give thanks. In the present, God is running the present. It's being run perfectly. This makes you happy, and you give thanks. Pat Brady goes to the Southwest every summer. She's a teacher of astronomy and geology at the college in Staten Island, city of New York. And she always sends these darling postcards. The moon rising over that mountain, and she puts a stick figure on it to show you where she is. We have about 15 TV stations who will receive a Chat with Glendora TV show by computer rather than on a disc and through the United States mail. Philadelphia, Manhattan, Bronx, Brooklyn, San Francisco. I think Boston is looking into it, and then a lot of smaller TV stations. This is from Farm Animals Rights Movement. Stages the largest slaughterhouse demo. And now these slaughterhouses, because they're so ashamed of what they do, are pushing for legislation that it's illegal to photograph or video or make any reproduction of what the terrible things that they do to animals. These poor, innocent, darling animals who didn't do anything to hurt anybody. And the way they are treated. Think of it, folks. When you eat meat, say no to meat. Say no to fish. Say no to fowl. Say no to birds. Say no to chickens. Say no to eggs. Stop and think what you're doing to these animals. And someday you're going to have to stand before who? Whom? Well, St. Peter, and you're going to have to say that you did. And someday your health and your body is going to be all ruined with cancer, with diabetes, with blood pressure, with heart trouble, because you ate wrong. You're a human being. Your teeth are flat. They're not incisors. You're made for a plant-based diet. Think of it. Farm Animals Rights Movement veganizes Earth Day. Meat Out, MEATOU2, instead of eat out, Meat Out 2013 creates vegans. Meat Out 2013 was a huge success. This year's national goal was to encourage lots of people to take the Meat Out pledge by eating vegan on March the 20th and beyond. Each person who took the pledge received recipes and a subscription to our Meat Out Mondays newsletter. Keep going. FARM, Farm Animals Rights Movement. Animal rights. Here is another movement. Very powerful, very strong. Compassion over killing. These poor little animals. ABC World News report on compassion over killing. Investigation wins a Genesis Award. Good going, people. Compassion over killing. Cole files egg labeling lawsuit against federal agencies. Good going. You have a right to petition your government for redress of wrong. U.S. Veg Week 2013. Highlights. Connecticut schools celebrate Veg Week with meat-free meals. Good. We're getting into the schools and changing the propaganda that the Department of Agriculture makes the schools use. This thing about protein. You get your protein from eating plants, and you get it firsthand. You get your protein secondhand when you eat it from an animal. Wake up. I won't show you these pictures. I won't show you the pictures of what goes on in the slaughterhouses and getting them to the slaughterhouses. I am opposed. I detest, hate, despise, abhor exploitation of animals. Leave them be. I will not show you these horrible pictures. I don't want you to be having them in your mind. Stay away from evil. Another organization is Mercy for Animals. And they are activists. Choose vegan. Burger King cruelty. Ooh. Stop and think what has gone on. Say no to meat. Compassion campaigner. No, don't look at it. Give a voice to the voiceless. See the darling baby pig and baby cows taken away from their mother while people steal the milk that God made for the big calf. And they put the calf in an enclosure to keep that poor calf. And this is what happens to poor turkeys. Did a turkey ever hurt you? No. No, don't look at these terrible pictures. Beyond Meat. 10 simple ways to help animals. What is this organization? Mercy for Animals. They have a life. They love one another. They know what it is to be clean. They know what it is to raise a family. Why murder them, torture them? And this is the American Vegan Society, which believes in harmlessness. The American Vegan Society. Harmlessness. The Compassionate Way. Ahimsa is a Sanskrit term meaning non-killing, non-injuring, non-harming. American Vegan Society defines it in daily life. Harmlessness. Where were you born, Glendora? In the upstairs bedroom? No. Where were you geographically born? In Presque Isle, Maine, 18 miles south of the Canadian border, Aroostook County. Did your mother have a doctor? Yes, the name of the doctor was Dr. Graves. Dr. Richard Graves. Graves is not a very good name for a doctor. Did you have brothers and sisters? Ralph Arnold Folsom Jr., Bertha Helene Folsom, and Gordon Howard Folsom. What was your mother's name? Edna Crockett Leathers. What was her father's name? John Leathers. Actually, it was O'Lithers, an Irish name. They came over here from Ireland. Somehow, at Ellis Island, it got changed to Leathers. What was your mother's name? Kyle. Vesta. Kyle. Vesta. Her people came over from Scotland. Oh. What was your father's name? Ralph Arnold Folsom Sr. And his family has been traced back in England to Norfolk County to the 1400s. Folsom was Folsham. Before that it was Foxham, and it meant keeper of the fowls. So you're Scotch, Irish, and English. Yes. Well, then you can't get along with yourself. That's right. Tell me about your history, folks. In 1928 you were born? Yes, on May Day. Used to be May Basket Day. You used to go to a person's house, ring the bell, and leave a May basket that you made out of paper with candy in it. And then they'd have to guess who did it. But it's lost all of its meaning. It's gone. There is no May Basket Day anymore. In 1928, that was a year before the crash of the stock market. And my father was doing reasonably well. He had a chain of barber shops. And my mother, and they were doing well. And they went to the bank to get their money, and the bank was closed. And they never did get their money. And thence folks started 10 years of a horrible, horrible depression. Cold, not enough to eat, not enough clothes. And my father moved from Presque Isle, Maine to Lincoln, Maine, which is a distance of probably 110 miles. Why? Because he got a job as a barber working for somebody else He got a job as a barber for $7 a week. And it was hard, hard, hard. We had to make our own Monopoly game. Somebody else could afford to buy it from Parker Brothers, and we looked at it, and then we made our own from a piece of plywood. And we typed up Illinois and Broadway and Go and made the cards. Fortunately, somebody had a pair of dice. And we worked on that winter evenings till finally we had it made, and we sat down and played our first game of Monopoly on our homemade Monopoly board. And we would go to bed at night. There was no heat, and my mother would put logs in the stove, in the oven, so that we could take them to bed with us and be warm that way. And think how cold it was to get up in the morning. That was the Depression. And when did it break? With Pearl Harbor. 1941, all the defense factories started up and people got jobs. What broke the Depression? The murdering of parents, sons, and daughters in Europe, in Japan. That's what it took to break the Depression. What was your middle name, Glendora? Vesta. Where'd you get that from? That was my mother's name, Vesta. Where's it come from? The Romans. Vestal Virgins. Goddess of the hearth and home. Vesta. And in Aroostook County, the living was potatoes. We would start school in August, then we'd stop school, and everybody would stop and go pick the potatoes. And then when the potatoes were harvested, we'd go back to school again in October. 40 degrees below. 40 degrees below every night, practically in the wintertime. Is there a Folsom Family Association of America Incorporated? Yes. Do you belong to it? Yes. And I signed up all my 5 nieces and my 5 nephews and my 1 niece. And now they get the Folsom Bulletin. What's your part in the Folsom Bulletin? Glendora's Corner. It tells jokes. There was a telephone on the wall. You see this telephone? Well, the telephone on the wall was made of wood, and it was a box. And a speaker came out of it. And there was a thing on the side that was a receiver. And you had to turn a crank to get the operator. And you had to tell the operator what number you wanted. 24, 12, 38. And there was an RCA Victrola. And you had to crank it to make it go around and around to play a record that was this thick, an Edison record. Yes, a platter, that thick. That's how thick the records were in those days, the phonograph. Well, I don't know if you want to hear more, but I'll make the effort if you do. We had banking boards around our house. The house would go this way, the foundation, and then there would be a banking board that would go that way. And the banking boards would go all the way around the foundation of the house to keep it warmer. And then snow would come down and insulate the banking boards. There were little doors in the banking boards, and we were small enough to get in and climb around all the way around the house in a tunnel. And the grass was green during the winter, because it was insulated by the banking boards and the snow. Central heating. Furnace. 1 register. It had to heat the whole house, but of course it didn't. There are ugly memories that I don't want to share with you, because I want you to be happy all of the time. And that's what this program is about, happiness. Somebody said last night at prayer group that we're being punished. And I said, no, I don't feel like I'm being punished. I feel like I'm being blessed. Abide with me. Fast falls the evening tide. The darkness deepens. Lord, with us abide. When other helpers fail and comforts flee, help of the helpless, Lord, abide with me.